First Reformed is Paul Schrader's most recent feature and my favorite film of the last year. Known for his Taxi Driver and Raging Bull writing credits, Schrader is recognized for his creation of obsessed characters.
I can't sleep nights. That championship belt on me, that's when I fool around.
First Reformed stars Ethan Hawke, who I'm a huge fan of for his work in the Before trilogy, Training Day, Lord of War, Sinister, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, Tape, Gattaca, and Dead Poet Society. For unbeknownst reasons, he also has earned his own genre on the viewing system for American Airlines. Hawke stars as Reverend Toller, a priest of a small landmark church overshadowed by its affiliate megachurch. The film follows his plunge into environmental awareness after counseling a troubled member of his congregation. This video will be spoiler heavy. And if you haven't seen First Reformed, stop this video, watch the film, and come back to participate in the discussion. Schrader has created a complex work with many curious choices, including an almost absent soundtrack, an essentially still style of cinematography, a near-square aspect ratio, and an abrupt and awkward ending.
It's just more complicated than we thought at first.
To understand the film, we must first understand Hawke's character, Reverend Toller, who is an alcoholic, avoidant, narcissist in denial, sobered by a responsibility he can hardly muster. He keeps everyone in his circle at a distance he deems healthy. Notice how despite a minute congregation, he is unsure of their names.
Reverend?
Yes, Mary, right?
Or how he denies his alcoholism.
Are you drinking, man, Reverend?
It doesn't help.
No, I suppose not.
Smoke?
No.
Drink?
In moderation.
And I understand you've been drinking.
It's just a little wine at dinner.
But his position puts him in a place uncomfortable to be himself, so much so that he is embarrassed to even be a reverend who drinks coffee.
Would you like some coffee?
Yes, but,
Or I think we have some tea.
yeah, that'd be better.
Okay.
Thanks.
He only lets his true colors fly when he feels cornered.
I despise you.
The people around him keep expecting more of him than he believes in himself, and this contributes to his calm personality, which is actually begging for release.
Have you notified her? No.
Did he do something wrong?
You all know Reverend Toller from First Reformed?
First Reformed was one of the stops on that route. Reverend Toller?
This is congruent with his name Toller, which literally means toll collector, or a person who rings church bells. Yes, I'm aware that there was a real-life Ernst Toller that has helped inspire this film. It isn't until the last scene in the last spoken word of the film that we even hear his first name. And let's be honest, you'd probably have to look online to even know that's his name. But in this scene, he is finally liberated, as someone who has noticed him as a human before an authority.
Ernst.
Notice the aspect ratio, which is essentially the shape of the screen. It's more like a square and less like a rectangle. Some recent films have toyed with this feature, including Ida and It Comes at Night. A conscious viewer could say that this choice creates a claustrophobia to the tense atmosphere of Toller's thoughts, and they would be right. But I think that Schrader intended more with the black space that he has deliberately left empty. It reminds us of the blackness that Toller discusses with Michael, as well as the before us and after us.
Before us, after us.
Yeah.
The blackness?
The film's spirituality wears its heart on its sleeve by reminding the viewer, although subconsciously, of our limited experience, and within the frame we are between two opposite ideals, including before and after, heaven and hell, hope and despair, and action and complacency.
Holding these two ideas in our head is life itself.
This theme of middle ground between opposite extremes is also included in the cinematography. Look at how Schrader frames Michael and Toller at their initial confrontation. Between the two empty spaces are where the story presents itself. Toller tells the story of his grandfather dying on an elevator, somewhere between the first and second floor, embellishing the fact that Toller is caught between principles and that we are all the center of a tug of rope. Look at how the alarm goes off on the day of Toller's planned attack. The second hand is between the hour and minute hand when the alarm sounds. Is it even possible to set an alarm this way? Schrader then frames Hawke in a variety of shots that convey he is being closed in on. The cinematography of First Reformed is meaningfully framed and noticeably immobile. Here we see few moments in which the camera moves at all. Notice what most of them have in common. They include Amanda Seyfried's character. This hints a progression regarding Toller's feelings toward her. Remember her saying his first name?
Ernst.
This is when the camera officially lets loose and spins around both characters for a long embrace, in obvious contrast to the rest of the film. Possibly related to Toller's alcoholism is that he has stomach issues which he doesn't enjoy addressing.
I'm worried about you. Me alone.
Notice the references to
There's a
restrooms
leak
in the
men's
film.
restroom.
No, I fixed it.
No, I was just there. It's still leaking, same place, under the hot faucet.
What about the women's room?
The women's is fine.
As said in the film, Martin Luther completed much of his theses for reform in Catholicism on a toilet. Why? He was chronically constipated. Toller is seeking the same type of amendments Luther succeeded to the current state of Christianity. He is unimpressed with his religion's face value and sees meaning in its contemplative virtues. Furthermore, he is haunted by his fear of climate change inspired by Michael. The same conviction that struck Luther is present in Toller, and I think his bathroom issues are a reference to the 16th century reformer.
Have you had any bloody stools? Recently? Okay.
Luther is not the only religious figure referenced in the film. Toller reveals that his own son's name was inspired through a biblical story.
Joseph. The boy thrown down the well.
Notice what he says here after spilling the soup.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joseph.
How could he know this man's name when he is so distant from everyone? Is he actually apologizing to his son for his death? The most prominent name, though, is Mary, and she's pregnant. This is the deepest and most manifested biblical reference of the movie. Specific details of her pregnancy are not discussed, but we do know that Michael was in jail when he found out.
He was at Fort Providence. They let him out early.
Wait, no, found out what?
That I was pregnant.
Could it be possible that the father of this pregnancy is actually God? Michael first introduces his child as a hypothetical female.
It's a little girl.
But look what Mary says here.
Are we talking pink or blue?
Hello.
Michael's thought experiment also aligns, as religious scholars assume Christ died at age 33.
33. That's how old our child will be in 2050.
Adding Jesus as an indirect part of the film's universe is more than an Easter egg. It further drives the principles that Michael left on Toller.
1/3 of the natural world has been destroyed in your lifetime. Severe, widespread, and irreversible impact.
Many references to Revelations make the case that the second coming of Christ has no better time than now.
This social structure can't bear the stress of multiple crises. Opportunistic diseases, anarchy, martial law, the tipping point. And this isn't in some distant future. You will live to see this.
Yet, no, man's great achievements have brought him to the place where life as we know it may cease in the foreseeable future. Yes, that's new.
I've seen criticisms that this film is overly political, but taking something as real as climate change for the backdrop of this movie creates a poignant and reflective experience that could not be achieved otherwise.
But this isn't politics.
Misinterpretations have identified this movie as a crisis of faith, but it is in fact anything but.
No, I have not lost my faith.
While the characters struggle with the question,
Will God forgive us for what we're doing to His creation?
the broader question that the film is really asking is, what does it mean to be a modern, authentic Christian? And just like the questions Toller struggles with, there are no easy answers. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.
Drive safe.